Um, this framework, this European framework for clear teacher education, is the result of a project which was supported by the European Center for Modern Languages in Graz. The European Center for Modern Languages in Graz, the ECML, which is a part of the language policy unit of the Council of Europe, launches every 3 years a new program related to languages, acquisition, studies, etc. They have just started a new one, but it was in 2008, from 2008 till 2011, that we took part in this call, and we worked in this project, which was called CLEAR-CD, Clear Competence Development, to develop and create this European framework for clear teacher education. This is the new midterm program. This is the new project program which the ECML has just started. There you have, if you go to its website, you'll find all the information. They develop very interesting projects, and it is possible to cooperate and take part in the development of these projects for anyone by applying to the national authorities. So if you go to the website, you have there on the screen the program website. You could also be able to maybe take part and cooperate in one of the projects. There is a very interesting issue they publish every term, which is called the European Language Gazette, with information on what the ECML is doing and what the ECML experts are doing in the language sphere. You can go there and subscribe if so you wish, and it is quite interesting because it keeps you updated on the work of this part of the policy unit of the Council of Europe. The ECML has also these opportunities, gives you these opportunities to use their publications, to take part in the European Day of Languages, and they also provide training and consultancy for member states. So, and even sometimes for no member states of the ECML, which is an extended agreement of the Council of Europe. Well, in any case, as you can see on the screen now, one of the publications is the European Framework for Clear Teacher Education. It is there central on the slide. This is what the European Framework for Clear Teacher Education looks like in its own paper edition, publication. It was published in English and in German, paper-based, but there is also an online version which is in English, German and French, and which can be accessed through the website, the link you are seeing just now on the screen. It has been translated into several different languages, because different ministers of education in several countries in Europe were interested in using it, and we'll comment on how to use it a bit later. Right, so this is what it looks like. Let's talk now about what it is. Let's start with the definition of clear, because that is the basis for everything else. I think Gisela Lange mentioned three different definitions of clear. This is the last one. This is the one which appears in the effect in the European Framework for Clear Teacher Education. It was rewritten in 2010, just before we published the framework, and several people who cooperated with us during this project, along this project, gave us some feedback and cooperated in this new definition, which reads, clearly is a dual-focused educational approach in which an additional language is used for the learning and teaching of both content and language, with the objective of promoting both content and language mastery to predefined levels. This last part is new. It didn't appear, it doesn't appear in other clear definitions. And it is there because one issue that all clear teachers were facing at the time and are still facing is, okay, when we start doing clear and we start teaching geography through German, for example, we exactly know which is the geography curriculum, the official curriculum, which every Ministry of Education publishes. So we exactly know what we, as teachers of geography, for example, need to teach our students. The problem is, do we know which language content is associated to that geography curriculum, for example? Not really, because what the ministries of education haven't done in the most of them, I mean not all of them, some of them have worked in this field as well, but most ministries of education haven't published or developed or created an integrated curriculum of content subjects plus language. And this is a problem for all content teachers who teach through CLIL. Why? Because they know which content they need to teach, but they don't really know which language they need to teach. So teachers need to work to just get to a compromise and find and decide on themselves which language they should be promoting when teaching certain content subjects. Making language visible in the content classroom without knowing which language should be taught is quite complicated. So one thing which educational authorities should bear in mind is that it would be really necessary to devise and publish this integrated curricula, because they would make teachers' work so much easier. Okay, so this is the CLIL definition, and the important issue there is that when we teach through CLIL, we don't teach language and content or content and language separately. What we do is to integrate both things and teach both things together. And this is a real challenge. Why? Because when teachers teach in this integrated way, there is something they need to do. There is something they really have to do. When teachers teach in their mother tongue or in their students' mother tongue, even if the content is cognitively complex, students understand and know the language, or at least most of the language. But the problem is when a teacher starts using a different medium of instruction. A medium of instruction, a language which um, his or her students don't really master. And then the complexity is double for these students because they need to understand the content and they need to know the language. To integrate both requires from teachers a number of skills and competencies which they also need to acquire because usually teachers haven't been trained to do this kind of job. Teachers haven't been trained to integrate the content and the language, and it is very difficult. Um, Most teachers get this pre-service training, which makes reference to their own subject, but they very rarely get this training, pre-service training, in the integration of both things. You can be trained in the content and you can be trained in the language, but it is very rarely that you as a teacher are trained in integrating both. When a teacher changes the medium of instruction, he or she also needs to change the method of instruction because the learning context is different. So this is a very basic concept, but not everybody realizes that it needs to be taken into practice. And educational authorities sometimes miss the point. They just devise this training for teachers in the content and in the language, but not in the integration of both. To be able to integrate content and language, teachers need to have specific skills and need to adapt elements which have always existed in good pedagogy, but which now need to be working together, need to be integrated. So there is nothing really extremely new in CLIL pedagogy, but CLIL in a way covers all different resources and tools belonging to good pedagogy, even traditional pedagogy, but CLIL puts them all together so that teachers can make use of any resource to be able to teach through an additional language. Right. The fact is that teachers undertaking CLIL, teaching through CLIL, need to be prepared to be experts in the content subject, be experts in the language they are using as a medium of instruction, be experts in best practice in teaching and learning. That's to say, they need to know good pedagogy. They need to be able to integrate content and language and good pedagogy. And they also need to be able to integrate the CLIL process, the CLIL teaching within an educational organization or institution. Because otherwise, you could have this strange situation in which the CLIL strands go this way, the non-CLIL strands go that way. And CLIL and the CLIL processes, the CLIL teaching needs to be absolutely integrated in the educational institution, in the school lives, right? Okay,